send them beds and stuff like that. Businesses donated.
Are they all still?
Yes, yeah.
Those are four.
Yeah. Not five, no.
They're all good.
Yeah, yeah. Because she was very menopausal when she was in her twenties. She said, when you're that's why.
Okay.
I figured that out because that's, I was very menopausal. So that's why, because there was fertility drugs back then.
I see back you have a
I'll think of it.
Yeah.
I was 9.
I was 8, so you wouldn't have been. No. 3 girls and 1 boy.
They don't look alike. Well, you take it by year.
No. Boy lives on the
Reminds me I've never found it.
Oh, yeah, there were 10 of us. Yeah, they were the last ones. My mother took my dad off after
It's like a month.
Next year I'll have to bring pictures of the babies. I didn't bring them down this year. Yeah, maybe I'll bring them down and go back. Yeah, about the same time. Yeah.
That's what I meant when I was told.
We'll see what she
Yeah.
I like that one. I never had that
Well,
I know where it's
Oh, okay.
I'm close to reservation.
Probably know somebody. Yeah, is that where Allison? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not showing us. He goes to the meetings at the house.
still gotta get the right. And then you shop it.
It's 9 o'clock and I'm calling the meeting to order. I'm asking you please to come to order. Monique, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Thank you. We're going to do the minute of silence again, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Take your hat off. Take your hat off.
Put your hat back. So I feel the difference.
Dan, do you want to take care of the minutes?
Yes, thank you. I would like to make a motion that we approve the minutes we have in front of us for the October 21st board meeting, and that we also approve the minutes from last month for the September meeting as corrected, so that the motion covers both minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Is there a secretary's report?
There is no report from the secretary.
Thank you. The treasurer's report.
First will be bank balances, and these are actual balances as of Wednesday, November 15th, 2017. Del Rio Banks, Texas Community Credit Card, $31,023.08. Texas Community Checking, $57,090.84. Texas Community Money Market, $2,564.32. Brackettville Bank and Trust, General Fund, $76,635.57. Payroll, $6,998.93. Restricted Fund, $426,788.86. Las Morris, $6,217.79. Subtotal, $607,319.39. Fort Clark Historical Building Preservation Fund, $18,645.53. Fort Clark Hail Damage Repair Fund, $36,507.29. Total of $662,472.21. Bank transfers, October 2017 estimated. 2, Bank and Trust Los Morris for operating expense, 0. 2, Texas Community Checking, $110,000 for operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $68,000. Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 for operating expense, for a total of $178,000, October 2017 estimated. October 2017 actual, 2, Bank and Trust Los Morris, 0 for operating expense. Texas Community Checking, $90,994.60 operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $61,500. Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 for operating expense, for an actual expense of transfer expense of $152,494.60. November 2016 actual, Bank and Trust Los Morris, 0 operating expense. Texas Community Checking, $91,434.67 operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $68,000. Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 for operating expense, for a November 2016 actual, $159,434.67. November 2017 estimated, Bank and Trust Los Morris, 0 for operating expense. Texas Community Checking, $100,000 for operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $62,000. Bank and Trust Restricted, for operating expense, $162,000 total. I'll move to approve the treasurer's report as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Was there something?
No.
What was it? We have the executive officer's report.
Yes, ma'am. I will first address the property tax or the common property assessment. Everyone by now probably has received their notice. The Kinney County Appraisal District notified us of the property taxes in the amount of $133,749.91. The MUD portion of that which comes from the restricted fund, excuse me, was $25,451.99, and from the general fund, $108,297.92. The number of the amount of the general fund portion, 108,000, was to be divided among the memberships. We've calculated the number of memberships to be 1,989, with the addition of 166 FRMs, for a total of 2,155 memberships. So the taxes of the $108,000 was divided by that number of 2,155, and we came up with the calculation of $30.15. We rounded that down to $30 for the common property assessment per membership. That's how we came to that number. With respect to the some of the things that are happening on and around the fort, I can tell you that our deer harvest is going very well. We had budgeted some $55,000 in anticipated revenue for the hunt, and here halfway through November we have already exceeded $50,000. So we're going to have a bumper crop year. We've had 120 hunters on the fort, but the actual numbers, axis deer, 18 have been taken, with 10 whitetail haven't been taken. So it seems to be going very, very well. This year there is some talk and some movement towards having, for New Year's Eve, having a fireworks display at midnight. And for that, Carol Ann, our activities director, is asking for donations for fireworks. So if anyone is interested in doing that, we may need you to contact her. The annual Arts and Crafts Show at the Service Club is happening on Saturday, November the 25th. The River Rats Barbecue food truck will be there, as well as the Cardenas funnel cakes. So please plan on attending that. The annual Frontier Christmas event and Christmas parade is scheduled for Friday and Saturday, December the 1st and the 2nd. And donations for toys and bicycles are needed. And so if you would, please look to the county post for those details. I will be posting also in the dispatch the details for that as well. Now, I've held off the last portion of this, being the fact that we have no financials in front of you, and I apologize for that once again. I have called for an audit of our Sunbelt system. The 1990s program that we use to track our accounts receivable is antiquated, is flawed. It has not been supported or updated for years, and I don't believe it can any longer be considered reliable. The problem has been developed over the course of many, many, many years, and I believe that our only option is going to be to break clean of it and develop a new program and start fresh. The auditor and I have been discussing this matter and believe that we should go out with confirmation letters as soon as possible and before he begins his audit. So I anticipate that those letters will be going out rather quickly.
What is a confirmation letter?
A confirmation letter is a letter which goes out to the membership and asks whether or not our numbers are the same as their numbers. They confirm whether or not the balances that are shown are the balances that indeed are correct. If they're not, then they will have an opportunity to send the letter back with their records to show what the balances may be. And so I'll ask everyone to please cooperate with that.
Richard, are they worded in a manner so that if they fail to respond, then it's considered our numbers are correct?
It will probably be so.
Some are
That's-
not going to respond.
Yeah, that's called a negative confirmation, which means that if you don't respond, we assume that it's correct. If
Yes.
you do respond, then we'll work to correct the balance. Yes, sir. The auditor will be involved in that process from the get-go, from the very beginning, and in its design, in the mailing of it, they will be present for that. In the stuffing of the letters, they will be present for that. It's a very complex process.
And the board will have input or at least see the letter
Oh,
before
most
the-
certainly, most
Okay.
certainly, yes. The letter, I'm not going to develop the letter by myself. I'm going to have the auditor involved in that as well. It's just something we have to do. This has been going on for years. We have to grab the bull by the horn and wrestle it down.
More?
I think that's it. That's enough, I hope.
I didn't want you, I wanted the good stuff, man.
Well, I was leaving an opening for further discussion on this matter, but that's the long and the short of it.
Do you want to wait and discuss before we bring it to the membership? I'd like a little more input. So
I could come up with a question or two.
go for it.
Some of the information we received, one of the things you put forth was now 5 years and $103,560 later. Is that money that has been spent in the past trying to correct this fiasco?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, since 2012, a programmer was brought on to correct the problems of the Sun Belt and to actually make it compatible with the QuickBooks program. That hasn't happened.
We were assured and told, oh, that's all taken care of, everything's wonderful now.
Well, that was before my time, so I don't
Yes,
know what was
it
said.
was.
But I do know that substantial money has been paid to have that happen, and it appears that rather than correct it, it has been this programmer has been used to patch and to band-aid and to fix here, fix there, but nothing's really being corrected. So now we have layer after layer after layer of scar tissue and bandages, and it just can't keep going.
We've got a mess.
We have a horrible mess, sir.
The other question that comes to mind is, on the financials that we have received, do we feel the bottom line balances may be generally accurate or close to accurate, that the problem is a lot of it in the bookkeeping, the accounting, like charges are charged to the wrong account, revenue to the wrong account, and so it doesn't reflect accurately all what's going on with the various departments.
If you are referring to the financials that you received over the last several months,
So the last one was, I think, for the end of August. It was the August. The September, we didn't receive it in September.
you know, even at that time, I believe that there was a glitch in the programming of the QuickBooks, so that when an invoice was paid and posted to a particular month, then it showed up automatically in prior months, and so that has been corrected.
But that did still,
I think it
came
affected-
off our balance.
Yes, sir.
So we still,
I don't know what the bottom line is anymore, and I'm hoping the auditor is going to help us to find that. That's why I've said to you before that I feel like I'm driving a bus blindfolded,
you are.
and we're gonna eventually hit a brick wall.
Yeah,
So we have to get this fixed.
I agree.
And we have somebody who's working on it.
Well, I've taken actually a two-pronged approach to this. The good news is that we do have a programmer who is developing. He is going deep into the system. He is already perhaps halfway through the development of a program that's going to allow us to transfer the good and clean data from the Sun Belt into the new program when it's finally accomplished. Also, we have reached out to a Mr. Link who back in the day, who was maintaining the Sun Belt program and was doing it very, very well from what I understand. We reached out to him to see if he can come and help us to get data cleaned up. Then we will be able to.
Isn't that where 100,000 went?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. Apparently, he was given the boot, and this other person was brought in, and that I think was probably a mistake. But
I don't know Mr. Link or what his credentials or anything are, but if he was one that was working on it, you know, as of 5 years ago,
before that,
even before that,
and from what I understand, it was operating very well.
because 5 years ago, we at one point went 7 months, or the membership went 7 months without a financial statement.
You know what? That may happen again.
I hope not.
I hope not too. I just, but, pardon?
I said, we'll have a financial statement when the auditor's done.
When the auditors have dealt with it, I'm sure we'll have some much better position. But Board, I just want to tell you, I have a fiduciary responsibility as well, and I cannot keep working with this machine, and will not. I have got to get it cleaned up, and so that we can move forward with our clear vision.
And the auditor will give us a date, or do we come up with a date for turning it off?
Yeah, that hasn't been decided yet. So yeah, we have
So
to work
when
with
do
him
the
on that, but
confirmation letters go
He's going
out?
to want to know confirmation as of the 30th day of September, and how that's going to be accomplished exactly, I don't know, but he seems to know. So.
Are we sending out the letter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Under his supervision.
And we're doing it,
So.
I'd like a better date, no?
I can't give you that. They will, now the auditors will be coming on the 29th and 30th of November to get started. They'll be able to get started with everything else.
So we may be able to send the letter out then,
I hope so.
or
Now-
before then?
Hopefully before then. Now, he will be coming in to audit everything else. And I will tell you also that I have instructed that as of October the 1, that all of our accounts receivable, other than member-related receivables, be put directly into QuickBooks. Heretofore, and for years, all billing, all information, data, accounts receivable is filtered through the Sun Belt and then re-entered into QuickBooks. As crazy as that sounds, it's a double action, a double work. I've now instructed them to put everything directly into QuickBooks. So as of October the 1st, everything is out of Sun Belt and into QuickBooks, but except for the membership data. So.
Sigh. Okay. We have committee reports. We have someone from the airport. Well, that you are.
Good morning. I'm losing my voice. Sorry. I'll be quick.
You can turn it so that your back's not to the audience.
Okay. Good morning,
You're
everybody.
reporting to us, obviously, because they want to hear it.
Well, on the 4th, we had a great open house. Thank you, Anne, Miss Myrna, and Bill for coming out. It was fun to show off all the planes, and the pilots had a great time. Mr. Lawrence was there too. Thank you for showing up as well. We answered a lot of questions, and we had a total of 87 people come see the airport. So that was exciting.
If you had food next time, it would be even better.
Well, ma'am, we're building my outdoor kitchen, so we might work on that. So what we've been working on in the meantime is we've done a lot of additional maintenance on the airfield in conjunction with maintenance here on the fort. We pulled out a lot of trees that were in our way, and we're just making it really nice and prettier, because it is really pretty out there. We're making it a lot nicer so that when we invite our aircraft guests, they will be wowed by the airfield that they see. So we're just preparing for that and working with Philip to get that stuff moved out.
That's still for the 4th of December.
The 9th of December.
The 9th.
Yes, ma'am.
Get it right someday. It is the 9th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And the membership can watch it from there.
You can watch it from your house, yeah. Because we're not going to have an air show or any kind of aerial demonstrations. It's literally pilots are just going to fly in and
Just kidding, actually.
What, ma'am?
Don't take me seriously.
Oh, okay.
We did not want to get in your way. We just,
Oh, no one's in the way.
on the 9th of December, we will expect to hear lots of planes coming in, right?
Well, yes and no, and this is actually a really great question because part of what we do when we fly is we have a noise abatement policy. So what that means is when we're taking off and we're landing, what you'll notice is that people aren't doing low approaches over your homes. We have, we call it, without getting too technical, we have right traffic, which means, well, I don't want to get too technical with the approaches or anything, but essentially what we do is we ensure that we are not creating more noise over your home that makes you feel unsafe or makes you feel like someone might not have control of their aircraft. And a lot of times when someone's flying pretty low at 1,000 feet, some people might get that kind of inclination. So for us, the standard traffic pattern is a left traffic, which means you're turning left and you're turning left. But in our situation, since the left traffic would mean that we're flying over homes, we exercise right traffic patterns, which is over the area. I think it's the back area where we hunt. So that's where the majority of the noise from the aircraft will be, aside from the landing portion. So yes and no. You'll hear increased traffic in the air, but it won't be over your home specifically if you're in that area by the airport.
That's too bad. I could look up and see what was coming in.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you got any confirmation for the 9th?
Well, we have 7 pilots confirmed, and then 22 that are interested. And what we expect is pretty much people are going to wake up on the 8th and say, oh, hey, the weather looks great. Okay, I'll go fly out there. And if it's great, they'll fly out. If it's not, well, then obviously they're not going to. But that's kind of the Russian roulette of having a fly-in, which is why we did not want to make it an air show, because we didn't want to have a bunch of people anticipating stuff that may not happen based on weather.
Okay, but I'm waiting for the air show.
Yes, ma'am. Our goal is to do that next year. It is. We need a hefty amount of money to do that, and an amount of like $6,000 to even consider being able to afford it.
I don't think the board can.
Oh, I'm just saying, like realistically, it's
Okay.
not cheap.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
you responding to my questions.
Yes, ma'am. Are there any other questions I can answer? My kids had a great time showing off the planes. All right,
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Architectural? Still stuck with it.
Short and sweet, this past month we approved 13 permits, and we had one member withdraw his permit. Don't know why or anything like that, but he decided to withdraw, and that's it.
Thank you. Where are you getting the word out on what people should do? Anywhere,
Word out on what are you referring to?
like on the website or anything like that? Or are you pushing for that?
No, nobody's mentioned anything like that.
Consider it mentioned.
Okay, thank you. Remember that, Bill.
I can help you with that.
Pardon me?
I can help you with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a finance advisory committee?
Not to repeat what Richard was just talking about, our membership financial base, but the Finance Advisory Committee met on November 7th and spent a good deal of time talking about these issues because Richard brought that to the committee. And that was their strongest recommendation from the meeting that day, that we need to start over on our data entry with our membership base because all of our finances are based on our membership list, because that's where all of our assessments come from. So they agreed that we have to do this, and it should be a high priority item. The information that the Sunbelt system has been corrupted over the years by various different kinds of errors piled on another, in addition to the system just simply failing. So, and you want to know what the black Sunbelt is, if you guys remember DOS, that's what we're talking about.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, that's what it's based on.
No.
Yes, it is. That's what I was told by our IT person. So if I'm in error, then I will.
I believe DOS is the underlying operating
It is,
system
it's the
that was
underlying-
operating the Sunbelt Black
Right.
system.
That's
And
why.
so they were actually mistakenly referred to it as the DOS system. It was still Sunbelt Black.
Yes, it's Sunbelt Black, but the operating system is DOS, which is why there are no upgrades to it. It's no longer used.
Kind of like Microsoft and Windows.
Yeah. So maybe I wasn't clear enough in my explanation. We also talked about inactive members. Mostly these are members of the small lots that are now considered colonial lots by the state of Texas. And we talked about some ways that we could move some of those lots that are owned into one single unit, so we can vacate another unit and replat it for common area, because we cannot sell those lots. We also talked about hiring a specialist, whether they're an attorney or a real estate specialist, to help us to foreclose on those colonial lots, the ones that are no longer paying. Their second major recommendation, and this is something that they absolutely want to do, is as soon as the survey has been reviewed by the advisory committee, they want to conduct a workshop for the board of directors and go over all of their recommendations about short, medium, and long-term planning. This was something that would be open to the membership to sit and listen to as well, but and they are firm on this recommendation, and they believe it will take probably a day, maybe longer. They won't know till they get the surveys back. So please, to help out the advisory committee, and this is their survey. The board did not create this survey. This is the advisory committee's surveys. Please, if you can, pick one up or copy it or print it off the internet, and I don't think we could get it active, but you can print the copy and fill it out and turn it in, because it's going to be very, very helpful, and it'll show them what our members' priorities are, and that's what they want to work on. There are surveys available in admin, adult center, golf course, the gate, and online. But please, it may not seem important to you, but it's very important to us as a board, and it's important to the Finance Advisory Committee, so they can help us out with future planning. So that's pretty much what we talked about. Oh, by the way, the cutoff date on the survey is December 1st, and then we'll get those to the committee, and then they'll have them for their next meeting. Okay. That is it. Any questions?
I think everybody's still asleep. Nobody's responding to it. Okay, golf committee.
Oh, that's me too. Debbie's not here today because we have the turkey shoot tournament going on this afternoon at 1 o'clock. For those who want to be in the tournament, we're having drawings for 6 turkeys. So, okay, I'm just going to briefly go over the information that Debbie gave me. In 2017, so far, versus 2016, we've had 62 more golfers. So we are definitely increasing the number of people that are playing. October versus players on the course. In October 2016, we had 749. October 2017, we had 811. We had an increase all the way through. We had 118 more members, 51 more guests, 64 more tournament players. And we've also increased our income with, over the last, we had green fees, went from 2,325 to 2,325 to 3,239. Cart rental went from 935 to 1,220. Cart path 216 to 426, which are your trail fees. So we are making some progress. Tournaments are helping us. The next tournament is scheduled for, I think, December 9th, and it's the Kris Kringle tournament, and it's 3 clubs and a putter. So come out. These are all fundraising events for the golf course. That money goes back into the golf course for whatever they need. Right now, golf committee has agreed to pay half of a load of asphalt to repair some of the cart paths in the association. We have asked the association to also contribute half, which is about $550. So once we get that cleared through the association, then maybe we can fix some of those big holes out there in the cart path. The final thought, and we're going to repeat this until the problem is taken care of, we're still seeing walkers, some with baby strollers, on the golf course during playing hours. And that is very dangerous. Golf balls hurt. So we have posted some signs that say golfers only, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But we're still seeing people, so we're going to keep harping on this. And I will give you an example. We were teeing off on number 1, and you can't see up on top of the cart path, and there was a lady walking right toward us on the cart path. Fortunately, no balls went down the cart path, or she would have been struck. So it's an important issue, and it's a liability issue, so we're going to continue harping on it. So if you know or have any friends that use the golf course cart paths as a trail, please ask them to stop. Thank you.
Particularly if they've got babies with them.
Yes.
That probably could kill a baby.
It could kill a person. Get you right.
Preservation Committee?
Good morning. Everybody knows in the commissary building, the new drainage system has been put in and completed. We didn't have a meeting this month because we went out for bids on Seminole Hall in the east and west end windows, and the closing date for submitting your bids is November 22nd. When we get those bids in, next month we'll open the bids and award the contract. Other than that, that's all I have for the Preservation Committee.
Are you feeling okay about it?
Hey, I feel great when I don't have to have a meeting.
I shouldn't have asked. Recycling?
Well, recycling, we're still collecting everybody's good trash. Just again, please, when you bring in containers of whatever kind, take the tops off of them, please, and rinse them out, especially cans, soda cans, because they attract a lot of bees. Other than that, we're still filling up. Keep the trash coming.
Whatever goes in recycling doesn't go into our landfill, so that we don't have to dig another hole. Excuse me, what's the word?
Cell.
Thank you. Still a hole. Are you wanting to say something back there?
Yes. Recycling will be closed Thursday, Thanksgiving Day.
Is it also closed on Saturday?
No.
No.
Okay. That's nice to know. If you need, nobody's going to go out there on Thanksgiving, are they? Yeah, that's true. Okay, then, you can go on Saturday, which I think is unusual for us. Do we have a search and certification committee?
I have a little bit of information, very little. They have not met, and it's my understanding that they're going to meet, I believe, later this month yet, near the end of the month, or first of next month after Judy Winchell returns. So they have not had a meeting yet.
Is Judy the chair?
Well, sort of the unofficial chair, it seems. She's the one that stood up and took charge of the meeting last month. And the major thing I believe they have to do at this point, besides recruiting candidates, is to set a cutoff date for turning in your announcement for your candidacy.
They actually need to develop a calendar for this too.
Yeah, they do.
I'm kind of disappointed that several people wanted to serve on the committee, and now I hear they don't like doing it.
Are there any committee members here?
I think Steve Fox and I are supposed to be on that committee.
You think so?
Yes, sir. Steve?
Yes, I
Yes.
understand, but we'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
have any info on it.
It's coming.
Before Thanksgiving.
I know that Judy can take charge, but once again, it's someone that needs to hand it off to someone else if they can. Kind of
Well,
disappointed.
Judy's gonna be back Tuesday, maybe, we should just, someone contact her and tell her she volunteered to be chair while she was gone.
I've been trying, but I can't get through to her. She's off
She's gone right now, yeah.
in Mexico, I believe, so
Well, and
I'll
she,
keep trying.
I think Bill is indicating, and I think that's correct, she's gonna be back just before Thanksgiving, this coming
Pretty
Tuesday.
sure it's Tuesday.
Okay, then we can get hold of her.
Yeah, we should be back.
Is there a community council report?
Yes, ma'am, there is. I was absent, so we actually have a good report this time. And I'm going to allow Mr. Fox to open it, please, with a report on what's going on with Fort Clark Days. And then I will
Actually, I asked him to do it second. If you, do you prefer it first?
Yes, I would, because I have other things I need to cover also.
All right. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I'd like to wish everyone a good morning also. We did have a meeting, which was this week. We had about 5 members there. And we are going to have a Fort Clark Day. And I believe that the dates would be what, March the 2nd and the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, which is a Friday and a Saturday. I would like to kind of look at this as kind of a football game. We have the game plan, but now we need to execute it. And we're going to need some helpers. We've got, let's see, Allison Watkinson, and also for Sue Martin, they are the coaches. And they definitely have the game plan. It's just a matter of us wanting to get some helpers to help them out. They are the hand, and the rest of us, I guess, are the fingers. I'm not quite sure which finger I am, but I don't know, maybe the thumb, I hope. We're going to have about 4 to 5, like for food vendors. I had mentioned 6 or 7, and Allison put me in my place pretty quick. I think we should have about 4 to 5. We're not going to have the arts and crafts this year. We might have that the next year once we get a little more organized. We've only got about 3.5 months to make all this happen. I'm gonna try to help out by wanting to get some help from over at the school and also from Laughlin, because we're going to need some helpers. And, well, when we have the kids there from school, we can have maybe from, say, 800 to 900 kids. We're gonna need some help for buses and for food, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have anybody to help with the advertising this year. I just got a text from Allison this morning, so we're gonna need some advertising help.
Is that something the Carol Ann could do? Do you think?
We are gonna try to get a little bit of a handoff as to who was doing this for last year, but I'd have to let Allison would be able to speak on that a little bit more. We've got some folks who have been doing this for many years, so we're gonna have to bring in some younger people, if at all possible. Not that we don't want older people, but as I look out in the audience, they're not very youthful out there.
They're younger than they look.
I don't know how to say that without getting in trouble, but we need to do a handoff with some of the younger folks that are on the fort, because many of the people here have been doing this for years and years and years, and it's about time to hand some of these responsibilities off.
If you ask them, they will still do it, but it's a very, very hard job.
Yes, it is. It is. It's an awful lot of work, and this is just a little bit just on the schools. If you look at everything else from Mrs. Martin, it's about 1.5 inches thick. So it's an awful lot of work for just for only 2 days. I have just a couple more notes here. I think that's pretty much it right off the bat. I just kind of scribbled a few things down, but we should have some more from Allison when she gets back. But we can make this happen. We just hope we don't have rain again. It's kind of hard to be here for South Texas, as I mentioned, and we're hoping not for rain.
We keep praying for rain. Maybe we should stop.
That's a good idea. Okay, and if there's anybody else though that would like to help, I'd like to get your name and number after this is over, if I could, please.
Somebody back there has a hand.
The youthful one here. There are many. You can write my name down to help you with Laughlin. We work at Laughlin.
Great.
And a bunch of the lieutenants are coming to help with the fly-in. So that would be a good venue to talk to them about 4 Clark days.
So if I can meet with you for just a couple moments afterwards.
Yeah,
Your name and number.
And I'll help you get some younger folks to help you.
That would be great. And I actually have some that I've already been recruiting. It's gonna work out.
I knew we had the right person.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
And then if I might also ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Would it be possible to reach out maybe to Mrs. Conley and see if her drama club would want to help with the arts and crafts portion? I know that it's a really big deal for the kids, so.
Yes, I was gonna go out, I was going up to Mrs. Conley, but I was gonna start with, for Dr. Mancha. I could see get the ball rolling.
Okay, sounds like the two of you need to have a meeting.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm glad we were able to recruit her. And I'm really thrilled that we're going to have Fort Clark Days.
That also thrills me. I assume that each of you received a copy of what the Fort Clark Days Committee asked from the board. Did you guys get that? Yes. Okay. So, any questions? It's basically the standard stuff that you have already done. The only thing that I see on it that's really going to be a big expense is the insurance for the event. And I don't know if the fort normally pays the maintenance people to work on the Friday and Saturday or not.
Ask Philip. He does it himself because he doesn't want to charge any money.
I know that they do a tremendous amount on their own, just volunteer, and, you know, that's wonderful, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew what all went into this.
Philip, aren't you back there?
Yes, ma'am.
So you need to talk to Philip.
And likewise,
Well, since Philip's back there, I
Chuck, before you go on, would you please meet with me and let's try to cost this list out?
okay.
And what days, like, you need hotel rooms, is that Friday and Saturday night, or Thursday and Friday night?
I believe that would probably be Friday nights only, because they generally come in on, Friday morning. It's not as 2 days.
Some come in on Thursday.
Come on Thursday, so that they're there when the kids get here at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And
So it
Okay.
would be 2 days.
I still think you need to get with
I
Philip.
shall. Okay.
With Richard, I'm sorry, I said Philip.
And then the next thing that since I want to I have things for Philip also here, so I want to go over this as quickly as possible. I wasn't there at the meeting. They got a lot done. I'm so thrilled. I think I'm going to start skipping meetings consistently. But Allison has a report on the ghostly tours here, and I'll read it to you. We presented the high school theater arts group with a check for $1,100 at the Monday school board meeting. This would not have been possible without the cooperation of the Clark Springs Association, Carol Ann Goodwin, and Philip, as well as the 40 employees who drove the tour wagons for us, Kurt and Mike, at the front and of course all the front office folks who took the reservations. We were able to use the commissary for 2 Saturday nights in a row, which was amazing. Each night was a little different, so if you happened to be a repeat guest, you were in for a special treat. October the 21st, we took in $920, representing 184 different guests. On October the 28th, we took in $1,225, representing 245 guests. And we think that the increase in the guests was due to the word of mouth as well as the Kinney County Post article. Thank you very much. That gives us a total of $2,145 and 429 guests in 15 persons groups, so we didn't have to worry about any kind of special event insurance for that because we kept each group small. And the group has already started planning for next year's adventure. It just keeps getting better each year because of all of the volunteers who come out and make things and make this a great event for everyone. The pumpkin patch was a special treat, and on the second Saturday night we were able to load our wagons a little closer to the vendors, and they reported a much better day, a much better sales at that time. At this time, we would like to give special thanks to our volunteers, Helena McBride and Jody Ackles, who greeted everyone both nights at the ticket sales. Jody, Sharon, Steve, Carol Ann, and Tammy, who greeted everyone with apple and cider, marshmallows. Katie Brown, Phil Colburn, and Chuck Fields, tour guides extraordinaire. Kurt and Mike, D.B. Paxton, Dan Smith, who were safely transported our guests throughout the venue. Our Lady in White, Mrs. Maddox, but don't tell anyone. Russell Knoll, our soldier at the museum, Emma and Cole Paxton, and all of the many in the high school students and parents who participated in the haunted house. If she has forgotten anyone, or really apologize, or we wish to thank you for your time and talent. Philip, would you step up here a minute, please? As a way of thanks, we would like to present a couple of gift certificates to Mike and Kurt, who spent both evenings driving for us. And for Philip, we'd like to make a small donation for your taco fund on Fridays because for the whole maintenance crew. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And And also, we would like to share with the court a copy of the check that we presented to the high school theater arts group. And I think that this is the first time we've had anywhere near the sum that we could share. Other news coming from the community council. I understand that Miss Lisa Vale has agreed to become a new vice president and undergo special training so that we can get on with the bingo that the four would like to offer. So she will be our representative for the 501c3 part of the bingo.
She said that she was going to actually run it.
Oh, wonderful.
I wonder if she knows what she actually said.
That's what I'm wondering. She's taking on 3 jobs here real quick. Okay, and I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, the community council's been busy.
Yes, they have.
And once again, we thank you for working hard to get the Fort Clark days.
I was very hesitant to say we're not going to have it, but it kind of dawned on me that if I don't explain to people that if they don't volunteer, it's not going to happen. And so I'm glad it worked out.
So are we. And you do need to get with Richard on the pricing.
I shall.
Do we have an action item on a golf committee appointment? I guess that would be.
Yes. Golf committee member Bruce Troutwine resigned from the golf committee, and the golf committee has chosen a new member to replace him. His name is Jesse Terrasas. He is an avid golfer. Will hopefully bring some new ideas to the golf committee and the golf course. So I know Jesse. He plays now. Huh?
Would you spell his last name?
Sure. It's Terrazas. He plays in the tournaments. He's very supportive. Younger guy.
May have some energy left.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, I move to approve Jesse Terrasas to the golf committee to replace Bruce Troutwine.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is he the school board member?
I think so. I think there's a lot of Terrasas, so I think so.
So he's taking on another job. Would you remind us who's on the committee already?
Sure, I would be happy to. I'm board liaison. Our chair is Debbie Isaacs, Lou Green, David Mann, Jacob Mann, and Jesse Terrasas, if approved.
Okay, thank you. We have some old unfinished business. I'm sorry, we do need to vote, don't we? Minor detail. Were there any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Now I'm moving on. Under old unfinished business, I believe I said some time ago that we were evaluating our executive officer's performance, which we do every year. We have finally finished, and we had to do a compromise on what we all felt, so I feel pretty good about that. We're not going to report it to you, by the way. He reports to the board, and if we've got anything to say to him, it comes from us to him. But I want you to know we do it every year. Okay, we had a tour of buildings and equipment. people thought we didn't know what was going on, so Dan, tell us about that.
Yeah, I believe it was last Friday that we met at the maintenance department with Philip and reviewed all his equipment down there. My initial question to him was, does he have a phone number for a junkyard? So much of that stuff down there is just absolutely junk. They've been patching stuff together, keeping it going, but we're gonna have to bite the bullet here at some point. We may need to get a little more clarification on our finances here. But the plan is to get a list, which we've already been given a list, but a list with more detailed estimates, not bids, but estimates on cost, and then prioritize it and work our way through bringing us up to date. As an example, one of his mowers, the golf course mower, broke down. They borrowed the mower from him, and they still haven't returned it. When I asked him, well, when did they borrow it? He said 2 years ago. Sounds to me like they took ownership. So we're going to need to get another mower at least while we're in there. We have pickup trucks that the doors won't shut and they can't be repaired. The spindle bolt holes, hinges are too big, and you can't drive them into a repair shop because they're unlicensed and can't pass a test to get a license to go on the street. So I guess you could have them put on a tow truck and hauled in, but I mean, they're just old. We've got vehicles that are 30 years old. We have, actually, to my surprise, we have 2 bucket trucks. That's the good news. The bad news is one of the bucket trucks runs, but the bucket doesn't work. The other one, the bucket works, but the truck doesn't run. And so there's some real serious things to deal with there. We went on from that to the motels. And plumbing on motels underneath in the crawl space, they call it a basement. I call it a crawl space because I've been under there now, is leaking. We have old copper supply lines, water supply lines, some of the waste lines which are PVC but are still tied in with cast iron. There needs to be a lot of replacement done there, all of the supply lines. Once they replace those lines and run them up into the rooms, and there's going to be some of the fixtures, maybe not all, but some fixtures are going to be needed to replace, sinks, lavatories, that type of thing. Also at the motel, doors. Many of the doors are in bad shape. They don't really secure it securely. They don't close tight. They've been broken in and kicked in over the years, and so there may be a need to replace some of those doors. And while we're at it, we want to look at and consider, rather than having regular keys, but do a card key system on them. The carpeting is terrible in most of them. It's beyond being able to be cleaned. If you walk through there in your bare feet after taking a shower, your feet turn black on the bottom just from walking on them. Some of them where they replaced with the engineered wood floors that was not done properly, where it was uneven. They just, instead of filling it in or stepping it, just did it at an angle. Now when it steps on it, it gives and breaks in. Some of the thresholds on the door are bad. People trip on them. So all these things have to be dealt with. We're talking about some substantial money there. At first, some of it sounds pretty reasonable. Like we have estimates around $10,000 to replace all that plumbing underneath one building, but then you got the fixtures after you get the plumbing lines all then replaced. We went on to the service club, the NCO club, that the foundation is sinking on the west or northwest side of the building there. If you go into the restrooms, you can see there that the toilets cannot be secured tight on the floor. They leak out because the floors are sagging so much. And these are things that haven't happened like in the last year or two. They've been going on and on. So there's number of things that have to be done to get those floors jacked up and leveled and supported, like putting new supports underneath it that are dug down and hit some bedrock so they quit just sinking down in that area. Over at the RV park, there's a similar problem. On the south or east side of the main office building there, at least, a little card room recreation area, then the office area. If you go in there in the back side of the foundation is sunk down, which has caused the floor to tilt for that area and break all the tile that's been laid in there. So that's another thing. But what we're going to do is come up with a whole list of things that need to be done, and there's more, that's not all, and get the costs involved, and then prioritize it. And of course, we have the request for an air conditioning at the gym, over in the adult center, and the list goes on. It's going to take a few years to correct, but I think we can do it, and we'll just have to work on it. Any questions? Thank you.
Sandy, did you have a report on the board's work on the bylaws?
Yeah. First of all, Dan, thank you. That was a very nice report.
Extensive. The work is extensive.
There was nothing nice about it.
No, but he gave it well.
Yes.
He drilled down to the important part of it. The bylaws, Myrna and I completed incorporating the changes that the committee recommended into the old bylaws. And we have just to actually type all that in and run another rough draft so we can review and also have a workshop, including the membership. I have volunteered to do the typing because Monique is already doing 2 jobs right now. So as soon as she finds a computer for me or a laptop where I can get in there and start doing it, then I'll incorporate all the changes into the old bylaws. And then we will go from there. Hopefully that will be next week and week after.
Thank you. I think Richard covered the employee health plan problems, correct? Already in your report?
No, ma'am. I wasn't prepared.
Let's start over. The point I wanted to make here was that because of some problems with our provider, and if you could just go there.
Yeah, very simply, we had some bumps in the road with our provider, our broker, who was arranging for our employee health insurance. There were some deadlines missed and the like. However, we have met with them, and all of our employees are now fully insured under the approved program.
Those who want to be insured.
Yes.
In the end, though, it cost us more than we had budgeted for, right?
Yes.
I think it's important to note also that there was at no point were the employees ever uninsured.
Correct.
We had taken a necessary action to make sure they were covered at all times.
Yes.
Yes, and that's what cost us the extra money that extra month with our old provider. Okay. Are we ready to schedule another renters workshop, or do we want to wait on that? I'm open to discussion on this.
Well, I think we definitely need to have one. There's no question about that. That's agreed. So the question comes as to when. And so I guess folks could throw out times that they have in mind.
I'd like to encourage that we get more people, not just the people that are actually renting the property or buying property for rentals, but also people who are renting property, so we can hear what they'd like done as well.
And people who are affected by
people who are affected by rentals in their neighborhood, either good or bad. because the last workshop we had, there were only like 5 or 6 people, and they were all people, half of them, most of them were people who own rentals that want rule changes to benefit them as rental property. But rentals affect all of us in every single neighborhood, the people who rent those properties and the people who rent them out to other people. So hopefully this next workshop we can get a greater variety of people who are actually involved with rentals.
Do we want to set a date now?
Sure, I don't have my calendar with, my busy social calendar, but I can probably adjust it.
You have a question?
All of my renters work, so if you want the renters there, you need to consider that.
I think we're more interested, at least I am, in having the regular membership there. We've had, as Sandy pointed out, the landlords there, but the regular members, how they're affected by more and more rentals on their property, that's where we seem to have a lack of input.
So
An evening one, if it isn't too late, will be okay. I nod off after a while.
Chuck?
I'd like to show my ignorance again. Does the fort have a set policy for rental property?
We have
The rules and regs.
we have some rules and regs that should be upgraded.
In those, is there some kind of clause or something that gives the renter, the person who is renting, some kind of right to dismiss people if they're not following rules that apply to the fort, like letting their dogs run loose?
They are subject to the same rules as the members as far as that goes, something like that. Because the rule on keeping the dogs or pets on a leash doesn't refer to the owner, what type of owner. Just a dog is a dog, needs to be on a leash, period.
If I may, the property owner is responsible for his or her renter.
So then the property owner would be the one that would say, I'm sorry, you're not obeying the rules, you're gonna have to leave?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that's what I was wondering.
And perhaps we should be able to say that as the fort. I mean, as the management of the fort should be able to say,
Yes.
even though you feel this person's okay, they're not following the
Well,
rules, and they should be. But that's part of these workshops. We need to change the rules and regs so that they are covering today's. I'll get the word any minute. What we do today, how's that?
I'm open, just
I am too. I'd rather not do it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
after Thanksgiving.
I would say in December, give this, because I think there's still a lot of stuff going on.
What about the first week of December?
Yeah, the week of the 4th. It's good to go for me. Yeah, what does memory serve you about? Social calendar.
Tuesday, December the 5th?
What time?
How about 10 a.m.?
What day is it?
It's
Tuesday, December the 5th at 10 a.m.?
Are you gonna do it here? The reason I'm saying is there's an architect maybe at 9.
Oh,
I don't know how long, it depends on how much they have, and how long
Yeah.
they'll wait.
Tuesday, 1:30?
How long does
The architecture committee could run long, but.
Depends on how many they have.
Yeah.
Okay, 1:30 on Tuesday, December 5th. And if that doesn't work, we'll get back to you. But it is open to members. We want your input. Try to keep the meeting a little shorter than 4 hours, but.
There's a ladies' luncheon that day, is that right?
Well, yeah, maybe we better move it to a different day. Sounds like we're involved in too many things. Is Thursday that week any better?
Yeah, I like Thursday.
Me too.
I like Wednesday.
Wednesday morning?
Wednesday morning's fine with me, it depends on the day.
Yeah, that's the 6th, Wednesday the 6th. 10 a.m.
Did we already cancel Tuesday the 5th?
Apparently so.
There's women's lunch, there's too many other things going on with people.
Yeah, there's a women's lunch tonight. I think that we should not get in the way of it.
All right, well, now we're gonna try Wednesday.
Wednesday.
At 10,
Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Wednesday the 6th. I actually prefer Thursday after this. 10 a.m. on Wednesday.
Yes.
The 6th.
December.
And it will be on the marquee. So, to remind you,
I think at that meeting, we could consider whether or not we want to have one shorter meeting in the evening at some point, Taylor, just for the renters that are working
It's a good idea, Dan.
on their Mary Francis Parkwell suggestion.
Well, we can get the ball rolling with the first one and then finalize it.
I remind you, this is the second one, not the,
Well, I meant this one.
we have a 15-minute member discussion. We have 3 people signed up. I'm ready to give them 5 minutes apiece. Mary Frances, please stand up at the... Every time I watch a meeting, I realize that we have forgotten to put people at the microphone.
Somebody asked me, Mr. Lawrence, if you were gonna do coffee on Monday at 10 o'clock.
Sure.
Okay, that's one question. Confirmation letter, is it gonna go out registered so that you get a return receipt?
All
Or
those
is it-
details haven't been worked out. Logistically, we'll do it with the auditor who'll be supervising the entire process.
Is the survey for the financial committee gonna be on the HQ?
It is already, and yet it is not compatible with the program that we send out, so you can't click and send, but you can copy, paste,
You can
whatever.
print it.
You can print it.
Off of HQ?
Yes, and it's not mandatory, by the way.
No, I just wanted to wonder if it was getting out to more people.
Yep.
That's it, thank you.
Kathy?
Good morning. Hey, so since Mary only took 2 minutes, I can have 6.
Or 7. Go for it.
Hi, good morning, y'all. I do have a couple of questions. First of all, thank you for explaining what Sunbelt was. I had no idea what that was, but I know it's part of the DOS system. Getting back to the financials, I think Richard said there were no financials since August. Is that correct?
Yes, if memory serves me correctly.
Has the board been getting financials?
No, there are none that we can count on. There are some that we have seen.
How can you operate without a financial report?
Okay, if you were not listening to the report, that is the issue that I have brought forward, that we cannot produce reliable financials right now until we fix the system, and that's what I'm saying we must do, and we cannot go forward. The system has been broken for a very long time, years and years has been building up a big mess, and so now we have to fix it, and so that's what we're going to do.
But you people are looking at a budget every month, aren't you?
We still monitor.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too impressive. My next question is, okay, you're gonna send out some confirmation letters to the owners?
Members.
Well, we are owners, because we all have a
Membership.
share.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, why does that have to be done? Why can't the board just do it themselves?
It's an audit process.
Oh,
I have called for an audit of the system.
okay.
I want it fixed.
Actually, our auditor has called for that as well.
No, well, not exactly, but yes.
Neat.
Kathy, it's to confirm the balance on their account. We may show one
Got
balance.
it, got it.
You got it?
I got it. That was a quickie. Thank you. And then my other question is, okay, is QuickBooks the best option we have for running this company, business, corporation, association?
It may not be the best, but we own it.
Pardon me?
We've already purchased it.
Oh,
And
okay.
and we can upgrade it, and maybe we'll run into this problem with it in a few years, but right now we're okay.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because I'm on another board, and the same thing. Our software system was kind of antiquated. We actually are in the process of purchasing a new software to get us into the 20th century, right? Because our 1990 and the same thing. So we're doing the same thing. My next question is, when you do this, how long the transition, and do you have any estimates on the cost? Yeah.
No and no. We don't know. We are just now diving into it. I've rolled up my sleeves and I'm going to tackle it, and we're going to fix it.
So once we do that, how long do you think it would make to the transition?
It took 20 years to build the problem. It's going to take a little time to
Oh, I agree,
fix
but
it.
I mean, are we talking like 18 months to install it?
I
and
can't
then?
tell you that. I could guess, but that won't help.
And they're already working on it, isn't
Okay. I mean, I'm just doing this, because I haven't been around for 6 months, and so this is pretty major. We're doing ours, and ours is up to 250 just to do, and we have to get a new server. So
And we may have to do the same.
that's what I'm concerned about, because it's a fiduciary responsibility for all board members. Yeah,
You just
it's a big one. No, it's a big one. And then in regards to the bylaws, okay, when do you think they're going to be done, and when would they go out for approval?
Well, they'll be done when I'm able to get them typed up as a rough draft, and once we get the rough draft put together, and we review it for, any major errors in it, then we'll have a workshop with members. And I can't give you a date, especially with the holidays coming up.
Oh, sure, I agree. There's actually no actual
Kathy.
deadline. We're still okay.
Right.
The membership doesn't vote on this, on the
This is a
bylaws.
board thing.
Pardon me?
The membership doesn't vote on the bylaws.
Oh, they don't?
No. They
But
vote,
we-
on the
Declaration.
just Declaration of Protective Restrictions, and then the bylaws come out of that.
Okay.
But we will have a workshop with members for their input.
Okay.
And the same.
And we've had a committee that worked on it.
Okay. No, thank you. That's all I have.
Eventually, we'll
Clarification.
get to the rules and regulations also.
Okay, thanks.
5.5 minutes.
You want your other half?
No, thank you, good morning.
Jan, do you have some?
Yes, I do. And I may have to continue this Monday. First of all, on the Finance Advisory Committee,
Yes.
is that per lot or per membership, the survey?
It's per person.
Per person?
Yeah.
Okay.
One per person.
And on preservation, the commissary drain, is he here? No. I was wondering if there was any type of a guarantee on that, because it wasn't too long ago that we thought it was repaired.
I think we got the right.
There, I believe, is a guarantee. I don't know the details. I don't have them in front of me, like if it's a 10-year or 5-year. And the previous fix was done by our own maintenance department, and from what I was been told, was not nearly as extensive and thorough as this fix has been.
Or expensive.
I thought it said extensive, but or extensive. Oh, expensive.
This is my peak. Yeah, we paid quite a bit more for this. And we, Sanford,
Yes, I saw the truck on it, and I think they're very fresh.
they are.
I just hope they guarantee.
I believe their work is guaranteed, and it runs in my mind it's 3 years, but I can't guarantee that.
And now on the finances, I think a lot of our problem is due to the fact that we've had so many executive directors, like every 18 months. There hasn't been any continuous continuity, exactly. And then with technology, we're always going to have to upgrade and keep, well, try to keep up with it, but there's no way you can keep up with the way technology's changing. Now then, the auditor, is this Randy?
No.
No, okay.
No, Randy's CPA bookkeeping and accounting, but our auditor is Jerry Wojcik.
Okay. And is he working with the programmer?
Is he working with the program?
You said there was a programmer.
Oh, no. The Sunbelt program is what we have been using for many, many, many years, and that is what has to be corrected. He works with it in the sense that he audits it, yes.
But didn't you say they were going to have a new program?
You asked if he was working with the programmer?
Yes.
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay, with the programmer?
Yes.
Okay, no, he's not. Not yet, anyway.
Would that be a conflict of interest?
I don't see how it would.
I don't think so, but his recommendations, I'm sure, will be taken by the programmer.
Okay, did you all see the, trailer on Fort Clark Road with all the old mattresses on it? And for free, weren't they gross?
Yes.
And those all came out of, Grey Wolf. Now that leads me to ask, how often are the mattresses changed at the motel?
Well, let me put it to you this way, that's on the list as well.
If I told you they were horsehair leather-covered mattresses, I'd give you an idea.
And then, one last thing, I noticed, we've been getting emails from, this enrichment program, that the lady comes and does art.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Is this, tell me about it, is it, financed by the government, or is it a private thing?
I don't think it's financed by the government, no, ma'am.
A government program is what I should say.
No. From what I know of it, Carol Ann has invited this lady to come and to provide enrichment-type programs for our membership. I believe art classes, cooking classes, and things of that sort. It's that simple.
It looks very interesting.
Those who go enjoy.
I just wanted to know more if it was a not-for-profit type.
Well, it kind of worked out that way, I think. Yeah, the person is not really making any money on this, although she does charge a fee. All of the supplies are provided with those fees. For example, all the cooking supplies and whatnot, the art supplies, that's all a part of her, from what I understand, that's a part of her fee. She drives in from Del Rio, so I don't see a lot of profit there. But it's a service, it's a fun thing to do on the fort.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Anyone else? Speak now or forever. We're going into executive session. It's 10:26. It's 11:44. I'm calling the meeting to order again. In the executive session, we went over again member issues. We gave the executive officer, Richard Lawrence, a vote of confidence, and we have some equipment that we're considering to buy here.
Yes, we have two Dixie Chopper semi-commercial lawn mowers. We want to purchase them at this time because they're on closeout, and we will save about $1,000. There will be a cost of $7,999 for each one, and plus tax. and then also a dump trailer for a cost of $7,125. We need the dump trailer to act as a helper and a fill-in for the garbage truck. Right now, there's a repair being done on the garbage truck, so that's out of service temporarily for a short time. So I move that we buy the 2 Dixie chopper mowers, $7,999 each, plus tax, and the referred to as a 14LX dump trailer for $7,125.
Thank you, I didn't think I was gonna get there.
I need to add on to that motion.
Okay,
And this will be paid for out of the restricted fund that we have designated to be used for capital replacements, repairs, and improvements.
okay, is that acceptable to a second? Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed, nobody? All right. Motion approved. Is there any other business that we need to? The next meeting will be December 16th, thank you. I didn't get out. Is there anything else I need to say? The meeting is adjourned at 11:47.
I've been worried about that for days.
Boy, how much sleep did you lose over that?
Just had you travel safely.